There's only one man battling the forces of evil. They are coming.
Now!
They will find you.
Now!
They will search for answers no one has dared to go. To save the world, there is only one.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man!
He is legend.
Oh, I enjoy new things about this case. I'm always looking, and if I'm not looking, I have people that send me stuff that I greatly appreciate. When somebody says, look at this, tear it up. This is my first read through of this. I can't tell when it was written, and I've never heard of her. Synova Cantrell, a true crime writer, I believe. I'm not sure when this was written. I haven't read it through. This is the first read. I want to see how far I can get down the scroll down before I find something that isn't correct. When I see these words right here, it tells me what is going, what is geared towards directly in the title. So let's have a look. I'm just going to glance through it. I we can read this. Well, in 1996, a tragic event shattered a family in Missouri. Two young boys lost their lives in their own home, and their mother, Darlie Routier, was accused of killing them. Nearly 30 years later, new evidence suggested she might be innocent. This case highlights how flawed forensics, media bias, and legal mistakes condemn someone wrongly. It's a story that makes us ask, did justice really happen? Or was she railroaded? I think I can. Exploring this story reveals shocking errors that may have sent an innocent woman to death row for a crime she didn't commit. Dun, dun, dun. Well, if it starts off in the wrong state, it's not a good sign. I'm not sure where this will lead us, but I got the feeling some misinformation is involved in this. The crime scene and initial investigation on the night of June 6, 1996. What happened? At 2:31 a.m., a 911 call blared through the night. Darlie Routier screamed, saying someone broke into her house. She told dispatch she was attacked and her children were stabbed. When first responders arrived, they found chaos, blood everywhere, her wounds severe, two boys clearly hurt. Yet, there's a lot of confusion about what truly happened. Police reports claimed her injuries were minor and self-inflicted, but medical records tell another story. Actually, there's nowhere in the police report that was sent over as a police report evidence on the scene. There's nowhere in the police report where it says she's got minor wounds and they're self-inflicted. No, that's not in a police report. That is in a medical report. If you just read, they're superficial. That's exactly what they said on the stand. But medical records tell another story. Early police response and crime scene contamination. The scene wasn't secured properly. Multiple officers walked through before the crime scene was officially taped off. Police contaminated evidence, touching and moving things they shouldn't. Blood samples, fingerprints, and physical clues were all messed up. The police also illegally monitored the family at the scene without proper warrants. This illegal surveillance tainted evidence, making clear-cut conclusions impossible. Well, I didn't know that they were filming them at the scene. I guess after Darren and Darlie got the house back, they had a camera in the window and they were filming them at the scene. If someone would know this case, first of all, they'd know what state it was in, and they know that this is not illegal, and that was all worked out. These are this is your bleeding heart supporter that's being slayed right now. Slayed. I hate when people do this. Evidence collection and handling errors. Forensics was mishandled from the start. Investigators dusted for fingerprints on the wrong surfaces. They didn't change tools or procedures. Fibers from the evidence were transferred around, and blood samples were contaminated. Thus, mistakes raised questions. Was the evidence truly theirs, or was it a result of sloppy police work? Errors like these that make it easier to pin guilt on the wrong suspect. This is interesting. They didn't change tools or procedures. That's interesting too, huh? Someone hasn't read the transcripts. It all looks good on paper. Forensic evidence and expert testimony. Flaws in manipulation. Questionable forensic analysis. The so-called forensic experts weren't qualified. They examined fiber and fingerprint samples without proper certification.
Sons of bitches.
Their conclusions relied on bad analysis, like saying fibers match from different sources. The term superficial wounds was used repeatedly, but the medical facts told a different story. Her wounds were deep and dangerous. The evidence was twisted to fit a narrative that wasn't true. The misuse of medical and psychological evidence. Medical records showed she had severe life-threatening injuries, yet court transcripts claims her wounds were superficial and self-inflicted. She was on medication. Fen. It's fentanyl. It's fen with 2 E's. Oh my God, these people. That affected memory and decision-making during high-stress moments. Cortisol and adrenaline flood the brain, impairing memory and reactions. Well, if you have ever listened to any serial killer that I have over the years, because I'm interested in what makes these people tick, that's why I'm here. Hi, I'm Bry. Anyways, you know that someone who's killing in the process of killing, when it's serial killers or even when it's just a single killing, you know that their adrenaline is flowing. It's an adrenaline rush. Her responses during the attack and 911 call were natural under extreme stress. Yet prosecutors ignored this and claimed she was lying. The role of prosecutorial influence. The prosecutor repeatedly showed the same videos and images of her dancing on her son's grave with silly string, doing it over and over. Actually, Greg Davis presented that one time. It was the jurors who requested to see it more times. Some say they wanted to watch it 7 or 8 times. I don't remember what Rena Way said when I asked her, but the prosecutor played it once. This emotional manipulation aimed to sway the jury's perception. They used images to create a villain, not based on facts. Evidence like innocent gestures was exploited to paint her as vain or guilty. That's a form of subconscious programming meant to influence jurors without direct lies. Subconscious programming. How about the prosecutor presents a story about whatever crime it is they're prosecuting. They present a story, and the jury decides if that story makes any sense or not. 12 jurors of the normal people believe that the story that Greg Davis was telling them made sense. He's not a warlock. He doesn't cast spells. He's not a fucking wizard. He's just a guy who tells a story with the evidence that he has. He didn't make up evidence, nothing. Media bias and public perception. Media trials and character assassination. I always thought it was funny that this word has the word ass in it 2 times. I don't know. These are the little things I focus on. I guess I'm slightly retarded, and I may have a case of severe numbness of the skull. But Darlie's guilty, and if I can see it, anyone can. From day one, the media painted Darlie as vain and narcissistic. Her appearance, makeup, and plastic surgeries were highlighted repeatedly. No focus was put on her grief or the tragedy she endured. News outlets showed her in unflattering ways, building a narrative of a woman unfit to be a mother. This bias shaped public opinion and likely affected her jewelry pool. Probably, I mean, you can't be the mom of the year when you're taking your mother and your sister and your 2 sisters and you're going to see male strippers and invite them to your house. And you can't be mom of the year when you're giving away drugs and alcohol to minors in the community. You just can't be mother of the year when you do that. That doesn't make her a killer. It doesn't. None of that stuff makes her a killer at all. But don't play Miss Polly Purebred with us. Who the fuck do you think you are, Liz Claiborne? You ain't no better. You ain't no better than half the East End, Dayton, Ohio trash that I see up here. And I'm one of them. But I mean that in the kindest possible way. The silly string incident and its aftermath. Her young son loves silly string. Someone brought it to his birthday. And she snapped a video of her celebrating at the grave. The media and prosecutors blasted her for dancing on her son's grave. They took it out of context a caring gesture and spun it into a sign that she was heartless. This misrepresentation stuck for decades, tainting her reputation more than any actual evidence. Her son loved the silly string. Someone would be her sister, and the news snapped. She did that silly string in front of the news. No, that doesn't make her a killer. It doesn't. It just makes her seem fucking weird. Because that's weird. And the general consensus of the general public is that's fucking weird. How can you act like that? Let's take the silly string out of her hand. How can you be smiling and chewing gum and standing 6 feet away from where your kids are in the fucking ground and say, if you knew Devin and David bobbing your head back and forth like that? That's what Beja focused on when she was bobbing her head like that. Well, if you knew, and smiling, she looked like she was happy that her kids were gone. If somebody didn't know this case and somebody said, okay, I want you to watch this and just remember that, just understand that this woman's kids died 8 days before this. And there she's standing by the grave. They would say that's fucking weird. It's weird. There's no way to get around that interview. They're both weird. I think Darren more so than motherfucking Darlie on that one. They'll still be 5 and they'll still be 7. And she literally laughed, a throaty laugh. It's like they were both relieved and that their kids went off to some better land somewhere else. And they were okay with it. They were okay with it. Suppression of family and defense voices. The family was silenced by gag orders and legal restrictions. There was a gag order on everyone that was involved in the case, and the family violated it. They were brought up on charges for violating that gag order, preventing them from speaking out. That's done a lot of times. They had the family, you know, the gag orders happen, but they didn't follow it. I don't think the gag order meant anything except for they didn't want them to talk to anyone until they followed their investigation, which is what they tell a lot of people that are involved in stuff like that. They're like, just don't talk to nobody. If you have any information, let us know. That's probably what was happening, preventing them from speaking out. Well, they've spoke out plenty. As a matter of fact, they spoke out when Darlie was arrested the second night. They went right into the Raleigh Police Department, and they were outside with signs, "Free Darlie, free Darlie, free Darlie," and their family was walking with them. Her first lawyer, who was overwhelmed, missed opportunities to challenge evidence properly. Then when new lawyers were finally hired, it was often too late. All this shows how the justice system had failed her at every turn. Oh man, really? You got this backwards. She had a team of public defenders. Doug Parks, I want to say John Hagler, I think. I don't know all of those names without looking, but I do know Doug Park. There was a team of them. If he was overwhelmed and missed opportunities to challenge the evidence properly, then the family should have fired him. Right then and there. If he wasn't doing his job, you fire him. Right in the middle of the trial if you want to. If you think your lawyer's not doing you right, I mean, they were sitting right there watching him. Right? No one said, "What the fuck?" My son's first lawyer, his name is Mike Pentecost. We didn't like the way he was working, so we fired him. I got a new one. His name is William Cass. When the new lawyers are finally hired, it's often too late. All this shows how the justice system failed her at every turn. No, they could have filed for continuances to gather evidence. They did not do that. Systematic failures, legal and judicial mishandlings, inadequate defense, and conflict of interest. Her original defense attorney was suspicious. He fought to have a conflict of interest declared when a better lawyer was hired secretly. The new lawyer lacked enough time or resources to prepare a solid case. A defendant deserves proper legal representation, but in her case, the defense was hampered from the start. What a fucking idiot. The new lawyer, just as Darren said, we got the best of the best. Mad Dog Douglas Moeller. Best in Texas. He also could have filed for continuance. Doug Moeller was added to the team. This is like, you people are stupid, okay? Danelle, new best friend for you right here. I'll get her address for you so you call her and say, "Really? I love you. Come on my show with me. Come on my show with me. I need you on my show." Illegal surveillance and evidence tampering. Police illegally bugged her phone. Okay. Let's just look at these 5 fucking words. All it takes is common sense. Police illegally bugged her phone. After the crime, they went in and bugged the phones at 5801 Eagle Drive. That's what they did, right? Recorded her without warrants. You don't need warrants to record in public, dumbass. And surveilled her home, even though she wasn't staying there and had never spent another night in that house. After June 6, 96, Darren nor Darlie never spent another night in the house, but the cops was watching. They was watching. They even had her phone bugged too. Even though they weren't home. They weren't there. They didn't go back and ever spend another night there. Breaking many laws, they also planted evidence and manipulated samples. For example, fingerprints that didn't match her were ignored or mishandled. The flawed collection destroyed her chance for a fair trial. The role of the court and prosecutors. Prosecutors pushed a narrative that wasn't based on solid evidence. They repeated chosen images to influence the jury. keeping exculpatory evidence out of court. The judge allowed questionable forensic methods without proper scrutiny. This systematic misconduct led to a wrongful conviction. Well, see, it's not up to the judge on this. If they feel that a forensic method is questionable, it's up to the defense to bring on their own witness to challenge whatever method they feel is questionable. Doug Mulder knew better than to do that because he had the best of the best testifying. Tom Bevel, James Cron. The question of innocence and the search for the truth. Discrepancies in evidence and alternate suspects. DNA and fingerprint evidence tell conflicting stories. For example, a sock with blood that didn't match her, but it was used as a key piece of evidence. Other evidence suggests intruders or unknown suspects could have been involved. Just other evidence. We won't get into that right here. She says she wrote, we won't get into that. Just like Darlie didn't get into talking about the intruder on the camera there by the gravesite. Well, we're not going to go into that. Rehabilitation of reputation and ongoing legal efforts. Sounds beautiful, doesn't it? The Innocence Project and Conviction Integrity Unit, not units. It's the Conviction Integrity Unit out of Dallas that I believe was put in place by Craig Watkins, who already had looked at Darlie's case and left a public statement about it that they felt that the jury got it right. So the founder of the Conviction Integrity Unit, they've already been through it with her. Now review her case. Darlie has always maintained that she did not kill her children. She refused plea deals to preserve her innocence. Nope. She did not refuse a plea deal ever. Matter of fact, that's something I want to ask Danelle about. Recent discoveries of forensic errors and manipulated evidence give hope that her case could still be overturned. Psychological and medical perspectives. Stress, adrenaline, and medication impair memory and judgment. Experts explain that in such moments, people act instinctively, not deliberately. Judges and juries need to understand that trauma responses, critical thinking, and skepticism are vital in wrongful conviction cases. I don't know what you're trying to mean by that. Because Darlie wasn't convicted because she couldn't remember. Darlie was convicted because she was fucking lying about what she couldn't remember. It's a big difference. See, Darlie didn't keep saying, I don't remember because she was in shock or anything like that. She kept saying, I don't remember, I don't know what happened, because she killed her fucking kids. That's why she doesn't remember. Evidence that supports her innocence includes a bloody fingerprint at the crime scene that did not match any family members or police. There we go with that shit again. Darlie has not been excluded. Bloody sock 75 yards down the alley, found within an hour. I believe they found that. Yeah, they found it pretty quickly, actually. I'll give them that. That's around 4 o'clock they found that. That has the boys and Darlie's DNA on it, as well as a limb hair and deer hair. The deer hair I'm not too interested about. All right, this doesn't support her innocence, though. And here we go with this. Look at that little word. What word did they sneak in there, those who know the case? What word did they sneak in there? They sneaked the word on in there. They like to stay away from the in. It was in it, not on it. Let's play these word games that Brian catches. 911 tape played at trial had portions removed that the jury did not hear that strongly supports Darlie's innocence. They played both copies. They used the one by Barry Dickey. They took the background noise out so they could hear it better. There's nothing in that 911 tape that's missing. Darlie nor Darren have ever said that's not what happened with that. Unidentified facial and pubic hairs at the crime scene. That means Nothing. Zero, zilch, nada. I'll just leave that alone, okay? I'm just gonna let that sit there by itself for a minute. Conclusions and key takeaways. This case exposes dangerous flaws in forensic analysis, police conduct, and media influence. It demonstrates how a woman can be convicted based on sloppy evidence, biased witness testimony, and emotional manipulation. Justice depends on careful review of facts, not assumptions or media hype. For all of us, it's a warning. Never take the evidence at face value. Holy shit. Really? Question what's presented and dig deeper. Wrongful convictions destroy lives. In this case, it reminds us to always seek the truth. You probably started by putting the truth in here. Support for reform, just like the Innocence Project, are crucial. We should push to end wrongful convictions and ensure fair trials. Justice is not just about catching a suspect. It's about making sure the right person pays. Sometimes the real story is hidden beneath the surface. It's up to us to uncover it. Call to action. If you believe in fairness and justice, share this story. Raise awareness about wrongful convictions and flawed evidence. Stay informed. Question official narratives. And support efforts to review and overturn wrongful convictions. That is the only way to prevent innocent lives from being lost forever.